Hello there, people of the internet. No exciting story for you guys today. No inciting information. No value of any kind in this video. I'm pretty much just going to talk about how excited I get whenever I'm watching a movie or something, or playing a video game, or reading a book, or something like that, and I see whoever is on screen use a rifle that I own. Like, for example, actually, this is one from the other night. I was watching, I can't remember what World War II movie. Some Russian World War II movie. And there was a Russian, and he had a Mosin, and he was obviously fighting off the Germans. And whenever he was going, he was like trying to load with stripper clips, and they weren't really working out. So he goes to loading with his fingers. And then whenever he goes to shooting the gun, like the gun locks up, and he's got to like really struggle to get it open. And I'm like, yeah, I know exactly how that feels. I have ran plenty of Mosins in my time, and boy oh boy can they be a little on the finicky side. I like playing video games and watching movies and whatnot to where the people that are using these particular firearms, I like whenever they use the ones that I own, especially because I know how it feels to actually use those. I don't necessarily know how it feels to use those in the situations that these characters are in, but I know how it feels to use them. Like, I have shown off this Mosin numerous times on this channel, sending lead down range. But yeah, I'll see like Russian soldiers using Mosins to like clear rooms and whatnot. And like, man, yeah, I know that sucks. Or I'll see them struggle with trying to get the action to open up and work. I'm like, yeah, I know that sucks. Or I'll see them hold it delicately, pull the trigger, and I just like know what the sights look like. I know how it feels. Or I'll play a video game, and the sight alignment won't be right just for gameplay reasons, and I'll be like, hey, that's not how you line up sights on a Mosin. Or it'll be like one of the games that have like a scope on the rifle because they're using those bolt actions for what do you call them, designated marksman rifles, or sniper rifles, I guess, in the game context. But they got a scope over the rifle, and then you'll see the person, as he fires his rounds out of the rifle, you'll see him reload with a stripper clip, despite the fact that there's a scope there in the way. I'll be like, no, that's not how that works. Oh, I just get so excited whenever I see things like that. The other day I was playing a World War II game. I can't remember what game. Oh, Call of Duty? It might have been Call of Duty. Might have been the Call of Duty World War II thing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was playing one of the video games that is about World War II, and my rifle had a scope on it, and the animation for reloading the scoped rifle was the same animation as reloading the unscoped rifle, to where you just reload it with a stripper clip. And I'm like, no, that scope is right over that ejection port, and there's no way in hell you'd be able to fit a 5-shot stripper clip inside of that rifle to be able to reload it. And in the same game, there's other aspects to where it's like, hey, you just fed 5 rounds from a stripper clip into a magazine that only had like 3 rounds missing from it. So I don't know what you did with those other 2 rounds. Apparently they're just lost in the void. Now, I know a lot of these are done for like gameplay reasons, and there are some sniper games out there to where you have to single load your rounds, and there's other ones to where you could just shove a stripper clip into them. But I don't really focus too much on what's wrong with them. I focus more or less on the enjoyment of seeing them on camera or playing with them in said video game and being like, haha, I have one of those. I know how it feels. I know how accurate that is. And then in video games, like in a video game world, 100 yards is like super, super far, but in real life, it's really not that far at all. That's just, again, for gameplay reasons. Or actually, this is one from the other day. I just so happen to have this out here. I might as well show it off. The Ruger Mini 14. I actually watched the A-Team with Liam Neeson, the new version, the new A-Team with Liam Neeson that came out not too terribly long ago. And he used an M14. I don't think it was quite this version, but he used an M14 in that movie, and whenever he did that, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I've got an M14 as well. So, of course, that night, I cleaned my M14, and I took it apart, disassembled it, checked it out, watched Forgotten Weapons video on the M14 again, just because I was all excited about it. The next day, I filled my 20-round magazine right here with some 55-grain projectiles, took it out of the range, put a bunch of rounds on a pie plate at 100-ish yards or so, and I just enjoyed playing with this rifle because I had seen it in that movie. Or actually, I was watching, what was the name of it? We Were Soldiers or We Are Soldiers or something like that with Mel Gibson in it. And he was taking on the Vietnamese in that movie. It's a movie about Vietnam. And in one of the scenes, actually in multiple of the scenes, you see soldiers carrying SKSs and whatnot. And I remember like watching that movie and seeing the AKs and being like, yeah, they're AKs. I know that AKs were used in Vietnam. And then you see the soldiers with the SKSs and like, oh, Vietnamese SKSs. Those are rare and cool. I don't have one, but I do have a Russian SKS. Let's go ahead and go check this one out. And so I bring out the SKS and I do all the things with the SKS and I take it out to the range and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly how that felt. I can't imagine, having an SKS in a combat situation where you had men with M16s. Of course, the M16 wasn't exactly reliable and it only held 20 rounds back then. They were pretty on par. As a matter of fact, I'm actually working on editing a video comparing the SKS to the original M16 and how they would stack up in that particular conflict, but that is a topic for another video. I just find it absolutely fascinating, like overwhelmingly fascinating, going through and seeing all of the all of the things that I own that are on camera because they're popular. Or if somebody else, like not necessarily from a media standpoint, but if somebody else like I know or that I talk to says, yeah, I have a Mosin and it has this issue or it does this really well, or insert your topic of discussion here, I got a Mosin with this descriptive feature about it. I'm like, hey, I've also got a Mosin. I know exactly how that feels, or I know exactly what that feature would do, and I know exactly how comfortable that would be. I really, really like the idea of having experience with all these things that I'm subjected to, because whenever I come across somebody else that has experience with it, I appear to look like I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about, but I at least appear to look like I know what I'm talking about. Now, some things I definitely do know what I'm talking about just because I'm passionate about those particular things. But perhaps there is a situation with a bolt-action rifle where a scope that sits directly over the receiver can still be fed with stripper clips. To my knowledge, there's none. I know that there's some that kind of sit canted to the receiver to where those can still be fed with stripper clips, but I could be I could be wrong. Like, there's just so much information out there, and so much information that I simply don't know because of my lack of experience, and a lot of that has to do with my age. I'm only 26 years old. I'm still in the process of learning myself. But there's simply things that I do not know out there that I am still learning. But boy, oh boy, do I like the things that I do have experience with popping up either in books or movies or things like that. Actually, right now, I'm going through and I'm reading the book All Quiet on the Western Front, the book that the movies are based off of. And I got the original, non-censored 1928 copy, and my God, that is quite the book. That is quite the book. I can understand why it was such an epic novel for like 100 years now, that is still indulged in war culture to this day. Because, geez Louise, very, very intense book, I tell you what. But the guns that they talk about and the things that they do and the situations that they are put in and how they rely on their rifles to basically be there to protect themselves and save their lives and whatnot, I like thinking to myself, yeah, I haven't been in that bad of a situation before, but I've been in situations pretty gosh darn similar to that before. Like, actually, I remember once, more than once actually, one time was really bad. I remember once I was stranded in the woods, and normally whenever I go hiking in the woods and whatnot, I'll bring my Car 98 and 8mm. And I just got a lot of striking resemblances and similarities between that situation and my situation. These guys were obviously being shot at and in a combat zone. I was not, but I did have coyotes and boars and whatnot to worry about while I was spending the night in the woods, not able to get myself home. Long story, not really a funny story, but also kind of a funny story. We'll go ahead and save that one for a next episode, though, or some other video down the road. What I'm going to do, I got some steel case tool ammo rounds here. I haven't shot this Mosin in quite a while. I used to make a lot of videos on the Mosin, but just because of ammo cost and how the ammo cost has gone up significantly, I've definitely laid off of shooting the Mosin because I can fire my Mausers for about half the price with the surplus ammo that's on the market. But let's send some 7.62 by 54 rimmed Hatred downrange. That one looked like it hit a little low. I saw a bunch of concrete go flying everywhere. I'm going to aim for the front of the car now, because why not? And there's a bunch of smoke. The transmission's still inside that car. The engine is gone, but the transmission was destroyed, so we left it inside the car. So whenever I hit that area, I know that the transmission is just getting absolutely demolished, and it makes me feel good. Oh, I love this rifle. I love this rifle, and I love seeing other people using it and reading the stories about how these rifles were used and what they've done and what they've seen. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal enough and such a good feeling that I felt like coming out and making a full-on video about it. And I want to hear what you guys think about the concept. If you see something that you have, like I'll watch a cowboy western and I'll break out my Winchester, or I'll watch like a Civil War movie and the next day I'm out there playing with muzzle loaders and cap and ball revolvers. It's such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling to be able to use these things that have played such a significant role in historic aspects of our species. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you all in the next episode. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.